And Bula was slower than Van Beveren and Schreiner on this stage. So that means Adrian Van Beveren does look to have won the 5th stage. And that sets a new record. That's his 13th FIM stage win. And that beats the 12 set by Luciano Benavides. So a new record now for Adrian Van Beveren.
Your thoughts on the race, please.
Yeah, foi uma semana, acho que foi uma semana muito positiva. Conseguimos estar a lutar pelas posições da frente a semana toda. Uma pequena penalização no primeiro dia dificultou um bocado a luta pela vitória, mas acho que foi positivo. Os mecânicos também tiveram que trabalhar muito duro, porque com esta lama toda as motas também sofrem muito, por isso acho que foi muito positivo.
Para ti foi o mesmo que correr em casa?
Sim, eu aqui sinto-me em casa, moro 40 minutos daqui, por isso é mesmo correr em casa.
Obrigado, parabéns.
So that's Sebastien Loeb, who looks as though he's going to finish this rally in 2nd place overall. Here's Pablo Quintanilla, the 37-year-old Chilean. Nearly aged him quite a lot there. 17th at the Dakar, won one stage on his way. And a 3rd in the Rally du Maroc at the end of last year was his best result of 2023, where he finished 5th in the championship. He's on a Rally GP bike. And he's had a bit of a tricky time of it. Almost half an hour off Toscha Schreiner coming into this final stage. No penalties for Quintanilla, but just not quite hooking it up, really. And as far as this stage is concerned, he is only really fighting with Skylar House, who we've seen come across the line already. This is the last of our Rally GP entries, Quintanilla. And then we'll move on to predominantly Rally 2 after that. And so it looks as though it will be Toscha Schreiner who is going to take the win in the 3rd round of the season, ahead of Bula in 2nd, Mayo in 3rd, and Van Beveren in 4th place. As Quintanilla comes around the big looped left-hander. Really cool to have this
Ross,
sort of...
your thoughts on the race, please.
Well, let's hear from Ross Branch.
It's amazing, you know, so happy to be here at the European round of the World Championship, and a huge thank you to all the supporters and the fans. It was amazing seeing you guys out there. Obrigado, Portugal.
Obrigado, Ross.
As Ross points out, this is the only European round of the W2RC this year. And this is Edgar Canet. So he is the man who was in that fight for 2nd place in Rally 2. We've had Bradley Cox come across the line, as we saw earlier on. And the question is, when Canet cuts the timing beam, can he be 2nd? Or will Cox have caught and passed him? At the start of the stage today, this man, Canet's advantage was 48 seconds. It got whittled down to 13 seconds coming into the final 3 kilometers. Still a very impressive performance from Canet, no doubt about that. And certainly one for the future at just 19 years of age. But it's he versus Bradley Cox for 2nd place in Rally 2. Bruno Santos, who we saw earlier on, taking the win in the Rally 2 class. Into the final kilometre or so.
Pablo, it was not the result that you wanted, for sure. You take some positives out of this race.
Sí, seguro. Fue una carrera muy diferente a lo que habitualmente corremos. Mucha lluvia los días anteriores. Pero increíble la gente, el público, durante toda la etapa. La verdad que se sintió una energía impresionante. Hace mucho tiempo que no corríamos con un lugar con tanta gente. Así que darle las gracias a todos los aficionados y apasionados que estuvieron ahí en ruta apoyándonos.
Gracias, Pablo.
Yeah, incredibly different to what he's used to for Pablo, which is why he struggled so much, but really enjoyed the passion of the public in Portugal. So here comes Romain Dumontier on the 16, Husqvarna, leading the championship at the moment, but he could lose the lead of the championship. Oh, sorry, I apologise. He's the reigning champion. It's Jean-Luc Lepin who's leading the championship, but Dumontier could move into the lead of the standings. Canet, meanwhile, has come across the line and he has secured second place in Rally 2. So Canet manages to fend off that late challenge from Cox. And as a result, it is second place for Edgar Canet in the Rally 2 class, and Bradley Cox will finish third. Dumontier, meanwhile, is lying fourth overall in Rally 2. So fourth in class in Rally 2. Second in Rally 2 in the Dakar, losing out to Harith Noah, the Indian rider. And 12th overall. Last year, as I say, won the Rally 2 World Championship after success at Dakar and at Sonora in Mexico, at the Sonora Rally. So we've had Cox, Canet and Santos through on the Rally 2 bikes. Those are our three that we've had across the timing lines. Dumontier now will just wait for his time to come through. He was in fourth place. Here's his compatriot, Mathieu Devetz, on the Bass World KTM. Oh, down he goes. Very, very quick recovery. That'll only have cost him 4 or 5 seconds there, I think, for Devetz, but dramatic fall there. Joined Bass World last summer. And he's finished every rally he's ever entered. The Frenchman. Comes from an enduro background before picking up rallying a couple of years ago. But pushing hard to hold on to his, what would be 5th place overall, I think is what he's trying to cling on to. He's 7th in the championship, having finished 5th in class at the Dakar.
Your thoughts on the race?
It was a very different race than I used to do. It was very different, but I tried to improve all the week. And I finished with a good last stage. So it's okay. And yes, it was a very muddy rally. With 5 different stages. In Spain, it was very different than here in Portugal. So, yes, it was good.
Thank you very much. Merci.
Yeah, as Roman says, although it is the BP Ultimate Rally Raid of Portugal, there was a day in Spain yesterday where the riders and drivers headed over to Bandarroz. And very muddy as well. It has been very, very muddy all week. This is one of the driest days we've had, actually. 20 degrees or so today. More rain forecast tomorrow, but obviously the rally will be over by then. But some of the mud, any of you who watched the live coverage on the opening day couldn't make out who any of the cars were, especially when you got to the Challengers and the SSVs. This, meanwhile, is Jean-Luc Lepin, leading the Rally 2 standings after 2 rounds. He finished 4th at Dakar and 2nd in Abu Dhabi. 3rd in the championship last year. despite missing the Sonora rally in Mexico because of work commitments. And Le Pen is looking to try and gain a few more points so that he doesn't lose the lead of the championship to Dumontier. Le Pen riding for the Dust Rally team on a KTM 450. Dumontier currently is the quickest Rally 2 driver on the stage. Rider on the stage. Quicker than Cox, Canet and Santos. So a very good final run for Dumontier. Might finish off with a stage win. Le Pen was 7th coming into this final 3 kilometers. So we'll see whether he's able to gain any ground. Next up, it's Harith Noah. Well, it was Harith Noah. Now this is Pablo Jeremias.
O Carlos Barbosa, Presidente, foi balanço geral. Isto está praticamente no fim. Faltam ainda pilotos e os carros também, mas foi sucesso esta prova portuguesa.
Penso que sim, foi grande sucesso. Investimos muito nesta prova. Tivemos o reconhecimento do público. Tiveram milhares de pessoas na estrada, milhares de pessoas a ver os campeões do Dakar, que tiveram cá todos. Foi uma prova complicada, porque choveu muito nos primeiros dias e tornou as pistas extremamente difíceis. Mas também foi desafio. Eles estão só habituados à areia e aqui vieram também perceber como é que é andar em Portugal e andar nas pistas portuguesas. Estou muito contente, faltam os carros ainda, mas estou muito contente porque o público merece uma prova destas e, sobretudo, Portugal merece uma prova destas. E, portanto, só falta agora o Turismo Portugal nos apoiar para podermos repetir este evento para o ano.
Com um cartaz de luxo também, e acredito que já estão a trabalhar para a grande prova que também vem aí, que é o Rally de Portugal.
Já estamos a trabalhar, nós temos, como vocês sabem, o Motorsport está o ano inteiro a trabalhar para as provas todas, mas estamos já a preparar o Rally de Portugal, está quase a chegar.
Marcamos encontro então no Rally de Portugal, Presidente. As declarações de Carlos Barbosa, Presidente do ACP, em exclusivo aqui para a Sport TV.
Great to hear from Carlos Barbosa there, President of the ACP, the organising committee of this really great rally. It's the first time that this rally's been held, brand new event for this year. As we look at Harith Noah on his Sherco, winner of the Dakar in the Rally 2 class, having won the Indian National Supercross Championship 5 times. He moved into rallying. 2023 he entered the Dakar and broke his T5 vertebrae and very luckily had no nerve damage. As we go back to Pablo Jeremias Pascual, the Argentinian, 6th coming into today. The young man from South America. And we'll see where Pascal ends up. Le Pen came across the line and was slower than Devez on the stage, that is. So 6th on the stage at the moment for Le Pen. Harith Noah lost quite a lot of time actually on that stage. He finished 10.5 minutes down on Romain Dumontier, whereas everybody else is within, well, the most is 4 minutes, which was Jean-Luc Le Pen. So not sure what happened out there to Harith Noah, but lost a lot of time. Here comes Pablo Pascal. Riding his final kilometre or two of the 1,000 kilometres he's done over the last 5 days. starting with a very busy stage one, actually, or day one, I should say, because that included the prologue and then the first stage. 250 kilometers yesterday on what was probably the toughest day of the rally on stage 4. And through then comes Pablo Pascual. Next up, it's Alexandre Vaudin. The Swiss rider, 7th at the moment. There on the 65 bike is Josep Pedro, one of the few gas riders in the field. And he was 8th coming into today. As Vaudin continues to make his way around. It was a good final stage for Pedro Pascual, the Argentinian. Quicker than both Dovez and Jean-Luc Lepin. So he's 5th there overall, 5th there on the stage at the moment. He was quite comfortably clear of the rest of the field, or of his closest rivals, Pascual. Great to see so many fans out in attendance. A real treat to see some of the best rally raid competitors in the world up so close. And for so long as well. Any of you who are big rally raid fans or World Rally Championship fans know that you trek out into the wilderness, stand there waiting for a few hours, and then a car or a bike comes past, and that's it, they're gone. You don't see them again. But here, with the many switchbacks, good opportunity to see these riders on quite a few times through. As we go back to Josep Pedro, he's Pablo Pascual's teammate at the Pedrega Racing team. Both of them, Pablo's on a Husqvarna. Josep's on a gas, and was 8th coming into today. Through comes Josep Pedro. A few more kilometers for him. And that will be the end of the run for the Spaniard. Bit of a wheelie here and there. One of the 148 entries that we had for this third round of the championship. Not everybody competing in the rally is eligible for the W2RC overall championship. Some are just one-off entries, as it were. Here's the start of this final 3.7 kilometers. And just confirmation that Romain Dumontier did win the stage, 30 seconds clear of Bradley Cox in second place. But even though he managed to finish second on the stage, Cox, it wasn't enough to take second place overall. That goes the way of Edgar Canet. Cox in third, Bruno Santos taking the win. Here's Salvador Amaral. He and his brother Gonçalo Amaral are the two that are dominating at the top of the Rally 3 standings. They've shared all of the stage victories so far in Portugal. Salvador won stage 3. Gonçalo, though, is leading the way by a little over 10 minutes, having won stage 1, 2, and 4. But these two brothers certainly seem like they have a bright future ahead of them. And they also have quite a comfortable lead. It's 10 minutes between the two of them at the end of stage 4 yesterday. And then an hour and 24 minutes back to John Medina in third spot. So a real dominant performance from the Amaral brothers. And I think it'll be Gonçalo who takes the victory in the third round of this championship. But the first round for the Rally 3s. This is the first time we've had Rally 3s out. This is Konrad Dabrowski. Another man in the Rally 2 class, the 22-year-old from Warsaw. Was the youngest ever Dakar finisher on bikes in 2021. But he's then had a difficult couple of years. He got COVID, which put him out of one of the Dakars. And then appendicitis as well, which has kind of derailed his training and his preparation and his competition. But he's hoping to be fully fit now for 2024. Here is the aforementioned Gonçalo Amaral, who looks like he's going to take the victory in the Rally 3 class. The two Portuguese riders having really strong runs. A lot of local entries and a lot of Portuguese talent on display over these last 5 days, and it's been really impressive to see in all the classes, really, whether it's Bruno Santos, not only in Rally 2, but even competing overall. And in the cars later, we'll see João Ferreira is really getting stuck in, trying to chase down Nasser Al-Attiyah for the victory in the Ultimates. And we'll see the final 3.7 kilometers of the Ultimates competition later on today.
Salvador, grande prova, faz balanço da tua participação.
É verdade, aqui a nossa primeira vez neste tipo de prova. Excelente, correu tudo às mil maravilhas. Muito contente por estar aqui, foram muitos dias. Hoje acabámos em grande, os dois juntos. Viemos ali os dois a fazer os últimos quilómetros desta última especial e, portanto, incrível e muito feliz por estar aqui.
Sobretudo aquela etapa 3 foi muito dura para os Rally 3.
É verdade, é verdade. A etapa 3 foi a etapa mais longa, foi a que fomos até Badajoz. Salvo erro, foi a que ganhei, foi a que me correu melhor, sem contratempos. Portanto, acho que sim, acho que estamos todos de parabéns. Dar os parabéns também ao ACP, prova excepcional e esperemos estar cá num futuro próximo.
Obrigado, Salvador. Parabéns.
So good to hear there from Salvador Amaral. Looks like it'll be second for him as we go back now to Konrad Dabrowski for the Dust Rally team. Pushing hard in these closing stages, Dabrowski. Down in 12th place overall at the moment. Sorry, 11th coming into this final stage. But I think he's lost a bit of time on this stage. Looks as though he may have been leapfrogged by Paul Costes, actually, who we had a look at a few moments ago on the 56 Nomad Racing entry, Husqvarna. But it looks as though Costes has had a really strong final stage. and might even be getting up to challenge in the top 10. We'll see.
Sem dúvida balanço super positivo, foi uma experiência ótima isto da navegação e esta prova organizada pela ACP está 5 estrelas, foi muito bom, os percursos muito bem marcados, uma organização perfeita e adorei tudo, muito bom.
Obrigado, parabéns.
So Gonçalo Amaral across the line there as well. This is David Casteau, 10th at the start. Might just be dropping outside of the top 10, Casteau. Because that was a good final run from Dubrovsky. Looks like he might have got himself up into the top 10 at the end there. Casteau looked like he was almost in a bit of trouble. As we come across the timing line there. And that's when we see the riders slow down and make their way towards the finish point. This is Adrian Costas. We've got Paul and Adrian Costas out there. Both riding for the same team. And Adrian was 14th coming into today. Again, these two young brothers competing and very evenly matched as well, by the looks of things. 12th and 14th at the start of the final stage. As they navigate their way around this final few kilometers, this man-made course just outside of Grandola and near the main service park and bivouac, which itself is about an hour southeast of Lisbon, the capital city of Portugal. Here's another Nomad Racing entry. This one is Mathieu Covin. Also running in the veteran class. And has had a bit of a tricky rally so far, down in 32nd. Coming into this final day for Mathieu Covin. But he's going to make it to the end, which in these rally raids is a big part of it. Fairly obvious thing to say, I know, but one of the most difficult parts of it. As Covin comes around, I think we just got to look there at Carlos Belloso. And here's the first of our quads. And it's Mikolaj Krisic, the first quad that we're seeing come through. He was the stage winner yesterday by dint of time penalties. But nevertheless, he got to take the victory. '47 there is Jose Palares in the Rally 2 class, 15th in the Rally 2 class. Jose Ramon Colomar Palares. The Joyride Race Service squad as he wrestles the bike through that left turn. That was good fun to watch. Oh, someone's had a bit of strife there. This is Kamil Wisniewski. Now Kamil looks as though he's going to take his maiden win in the W2RC on the quads. Because although that man there, Mikolaj Krisic, took the stage win yesterday, he's down in 7th place overall. And Wisniewski has been solid, consistent, hasn't run into too much trouble.
It was nice. It was nice rally, totally different than the open desert rallies. Kind of WRC like cars, you know. So yeah, it was tricky and fast.
Thank you very much. Congrats.
Thank you.
If you're wondering the difference between, as it was good to hear there from Jan Brabek, the Czech rider, the difference between the WRC and the W2RC, one's rally raid, and rally raid is simply quite a lot longer and tougher. These special stages yesterday, for example, 250 kilometers lasting for 5 days, whereas a World Rally Championship stage is much shorter than that. And then you look at something like the Dakar Rally, which is 400, 500 kilometers in a day. So here comes Krisic on his Yamaha Raptor 700R. He's 13 hours down on Kamil Wisniewski, the leader of the rally and the man who looks set to win. Kamil is on the 177. Still been a good run for Krisic. The big story of the quads, though, was a couple of days ago when Manuel Andújar, the Dakar quad winner, was comfortably in control and then lost about 40 minutes on stage 4. We'll talk more about that when we see him, but it is going to be Kamil Wisniewski on his Yamaha Raptor here, who is going to win the 3rd round of the championship. He had a small problem at the end of stage 1. The bike ground to a, the quad ground to a bit of a halt. But the pole got it going again. Hasn't looked back since. A good entry of quads for this rally. 11, I think, have entered. And on the stage itself, it looks as though Manuel Andújar is having a good run, as you'd expect. But there comes Wisniewski across the line. And that should be the rally victory for Kamil Wisniewski, because he's got about 6 minutes or so back to Konopkinas in 2nd place. So a well-deserved victory for Kamil Wisniewski in the 3rd round of the championship. Now here we have the aforementioned Konopkinas, the Lithuanian, on a CF Moto. He and Gaetano Martinez, the two riders on these Chinese quads, Chinese brand quads, CF Moto.
Nikolai, your thoughts on the race, please?
Race is very hard. I am very happy. Track is twisty and a lot of water in the road.
Thank you very much.
I think that just about sums it up, doesn't it, from Nikolai Krisic? Very twisty, lots of water. That kind of sums up this Portuguese round of the FIA World Rally Raid Championship. As we go back to Konopkinas, Made his Dakar debut this year. And there we go. There is Kamil Wisniewski receiving the gold medal and the win in the quads. And I think we're going to hear from him in a moment.
It was an important race for you, important win also.
Tak, to był dla mnie bardzo dobry rajd. Wygrałem go. Było dużo błota, ale jestem na mecie i jestem z tego zadowolony.
Thank you very much. É impossível perceber o que disse o Camilo, mas acredito que está muito feliz.
So Kamil Wisniewski taking the victory. He withdrew from Abu Dhabi because he ended up with an ECU problem, so couldn't get to the end of that second round of the season. But the winner in round 3. Antanas Konopkinas coming through. Finished 5th at the Dakar in his debut in January, which was a pretty good effort. And finished 5th in the Abu Dhabi Desert Challenge last year. And it looks as though it's going to be a second place here, which would be his best W2RC result for Antanas Konopkinas. He's had an okay final stage, 6 minutes down on Andujar in the end. Well, not in the end, because Andujar hasn't finished, but with 3 kilometers to go, he was about 6 minutes down. But it should be enough to keep him that second position, because Martinez is about 30 seconds back. So we'll keep an eye on it, because that's quite a tight battle for second position between the two CF Moto riders. As he comes down now towards the timing line. And through goes Konopkinas on the 175 CF Moto.
Perceber que terminaste a prova bastante satisfeito.
Sim, muito. Tive problema no segundo dia. Tive de parar 3 horas para reparar a moto, para chegar ao fim. Depois foi arrancar sempre atrás e tentando ir chegar mais rápido à frente.
Parabéns, Pedro, pela prova. Pedro Pinheiro, aqui à Sport TV.
Marcin Wilkolek next up. Lying 5th, the pole, coming into this final stage on his YFM. "36 minutes off the lead, so I don't think he's going to have many changes of position. Krisic earlier on, by the way, we saw him come across the line, but he lost some 13 minutes in those first 100 kilometers to Wisniewski, so not going to be a strong stage result for Krisic. Now, here is Martinez. He's in the battle for second place with Konopkinas. There was just 30 seconds between them. Konopkinas had the advantage, but if this has been a strong stage, and he might have a shot. So far to this point, he had lost about 20 seconds, so it would need to be a pretty magnificent final 3.7 kilometers for Gaetan Martinez, the Frenchman. Also on the CF Moto. You can see how much he's using his body to get the quad turned. But is he going to be able to do enough to nick second place away from Konopkinas at the line? It looked as though Konopkinas did a very good job. As he comes across the line there, we'll wait for the time to come through. As we go back to some of our bikes, this is Pedro Bianchi Prata, who's 4th in Rally 3. It was about 6 minutes behind John Medina in the fight for 3rd. There's a little high five. I think that was with Konopkinas, who looks like he's going to end up with that second place. And yes, he has. The time's just come through for Gaetano Martinez, and it is second place for Canopquinas, third for Gaetano Martinez. The reason that some of the order is a bit mixed up, you know, sometimes it's Rally 2, sometimes it's Quad, sometimes it's Rally 3, is they all start in the order of the stage finished yesterday. But as the stage progresses, some go quick, some go slow, and the quads end up overtaking some of the bikes who've maybe run into a bit of trouble here or there. Sebastien Loeb here on the 129 Husqvarna in the veteran class. And there is the second place for Canopquinas. No, sorry, that's Vilkelek. My apologies. That's Vilkelek on the 193, who finished. He's getting third place on the stage. That's what he's receiving that medal for, is his third place on the stage. But overall, it looks as though Vilkelek is going to finish in 5th position. But yes, some of the quads catch up with some of the bikes that have had a bit of trouble. Sebastien Loeb, we're watching on the 129 Husqvarna, as I say, the 45-year-old from Limousin in France. Back to the quads now, and this is Manuel Andújar, the 27-year-old Argentinian from the Lobos district in Buenos Aires. As a bit of a cool down for Martinez. Third overall at the end of the third round of the championship. A second and third for CF Moto, which will be very, very pleasing for them as a manufacturer. But a good job from Gaetano Martinez over these last 5 days. But back to Manuel Andújar. One in Dakar in 2021, one in Dakar in January, and was dominating this race until stage 4. He had a mechanical problem, which cost him 20 minutes. And then he knew he'd lost time, so he was pushing so hard to make that time up. He had an accident and lost another 20 minutes and damaged the quad in doing so. You can see on his upper arm the...
Aqui com o top 5 no Rally 3, os teus comentários depois desta etapa e desta prova, claro.
Foi uma prova muito gira, espetacular. Portugal tem umas condições únicas para fazer este tipo de rallies. Desportivamente, para mim, não foi o que eu queria ficar no pódio, mas os rallies são mesmo assim. Tive um azar logo no primeiro dia, depois ontem fiquei com a moto a nadar por minha culpa, mas as corridas é isto, não se pode baixar os braços até ao final, e vou com a consciência tranquila que ataquei o máximo, que dei o máximo. Obrigado à minha equipa, que se portaram muito bem, foi muito trabalho, 4 motas, 4 pilotos no final, estou muito contente e é um rally à séria, um rally de campeonato do mundo à séria.
Obrigado, Pedro, parabéns.
I'll finish that thought of if you look at the upper arm of Manuel Andújar, you can see the logo of Boca Juniors, one of the 2 big football clubs in Argentina. They and River Plate, the main 2, but Manuel is a big Boca Juniors fan, so he's got the famous blue and yellow on the sort of bicep part of his race suit. But a question of what could have been for Andújar if it wasn't for that. Oh, time loss on stage 4. Bit of trouble here for John Medina, the Chilean. Now, he was in that fight for 3rd place, wasn't he, in Rally 3? He's in 3rd place at the moment, but he only had a minute over Pedro Bianchi Prata, who we just heard from a moment ago. And well, is that it? Is he out? This is surely going to cost him more than a minute, and this could give Pedro Bianchi Prata the 3rd place in Rally 3 right at the last minute. So John Medina, the Chilean, in a ditch for the X-Raids Experience team. as we now look at another of the Nomad Racing Team entries. This one is Nicolas Aureux. John Medina's got going again. But what is his time going to be? We'll keep an eye on that one. '80 here is Rafik Aid on his red Moto 450 RX. Running in the Rally 3 class. But, well, he picked a perfect place to stop there, didn't he? Right behind the tree, but crawling to the end here, which is a shame. So close as well. But presumably some kind of mechanical
Fizeste o melhor crono aqui na etapa, não foi o resultado que querias para o Rally, também com algum azar durante a prova para ti?
No, por supuesto, después de ganar 4 de las 5 etapas, la verdad que no es el resultado como equipo que queríamos, pero hemos trabajado bien y esta carrera nos sirve para seguir mejorando.
Gracias.
Gracias.
I think Pedro Bianchi Prata has nicked that third place. Right at the line by 15 seconds. So a change in the final 3.7 kilometers in the Rally 3 class. John Medina looked set to have that third position, but he's just lost out with that mistake, mechanical, whatever it was that saw him get stuck. Pedro Bianchi Prata looks as though he's now going to take third position in the Rally 3 category. As we go back to the 41 of Nico Aureux, 16th in Rally 2 coming into this final stage. And this is Ayelen Bogado, the Argentinian, on the 180 quad. Another Yamaha. Making their way past the stranded bike that we saw a couple of seconds ago. And Bogado looks as though he's going to finish this 6th overall. 2 hours off Wisniewski at the final checkpoint. But it's just Bogado and the Polaris of Alberto Ruiz still to come through. As far as the quads are concerned, anyway. And a reminder, we'll have all the cars coming through a little later on. And that battle is getting very entertaining indeed. We've got 3 rally... Oh. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be the way that we wanted to see this finish. This is Vaughan Root on the 61 Bassworld KTM Racing Team entry. The South African lying 23rd overall coming into today. Very experienced rider. We've got 3 Rally 3s still to come across the line. And probably about 6 or 7 in the Rally 2 class, including Eid if he can get it going again. You could hear, I think it was him, firing up or trying to fire the bike up. It didn't sound like he was getting anywhere with that ignition. A reminder, the Rally GP class won by Toscha Schreiner ahead of Sebastian Bulle, his best finish, and Antonio Mao. That was the top three, with Adrian van Beveren finishing 4th, winning the stage today and taking his tally to 13, beating Luciano Benavides' record. In the quads, Kamil Wisniewski has taken the win overall, ahead of Konopkinas and Martinez, with Manuel Andújar, after troubles on stage 3, only managing to finish in 4th place. Rally 2 has gone the way of Bruno Santos with a phenomenal ride, honestly. Right up in the mix overall as well. 2nd place going to Edgar Canet, and 3rd to Bradley Cox. And they were separated by just 30 seconds or so at the line after, what, over 10 hours of competition. And Rally 3, well, was always going to go the way of one of the Amaral brothers. They finished 10 minutes apart in the end, and it was Gonçalo Amaral who beat his brother to victory.
Aline, una carrera muy dura. ¿Cómo fue para ti?
Sí, fue dura, pero fueron caminos rápidos, hermoso por donde pasamos, muy lindo porque había mucha gente en toda la vuelta, entonces la gente animando te da energías. Así que agradecida de estar acá representando a mi país, Argentina, y representando a las mujeres también, para que siempre tengamos un lugar en lo que queramos hacer.
Gracias.
So great to hear from Aline Bogado, one of 2 women racing in the, who entered the quads, but it looks as though Sunny Martinez, the Bolivian, didn't take the start today, unfortunately. She was classified yesterday, but had 105 hours of penalties for various issues in her Polaris Scrambler. And this is most likely Alberto Ruiz. Here he is on his Polaris Scrambler. And I think he's going to be the last of our quads to come across the line. 8th overall coming into today, and has remained 8th. Lost 21 minutes on the first 100k. So whether there was a problem for Alberto Prieto Ruiz, the Spaniard. But he will be our last quad runner to come across the line. There's the 78 Honda, Francisco España, the Portuguese racer, who was 5th in Rally 3 coming into today, and looks like has remained 5th. Yeah, and he's comfortably clear of Flores and Vila, who are still to come through, so it'll be 5th for España Mendez. 43 here, Ferran Zaragoza for the KTM team, 24th coming into today in the Rally 2 class. As we go back to see Prieto Ruiz coming through the final couple of Ks of his Rally Portugal. Another Pedrega Racing Team entry is Zaragoza. Running in the Rally 2 class. And 35 minutes down on the Rally 2 winner on this stage, which was Romain Dumontier. So it looks like he will remain in 24th position. It's actually quite close between he and Fernandez Garcia for 24th overall. As Prieto comes through. Not a full W2RC entrant, Prieto, so this might...
Já passou por aqui, disse que foi grande resultado para a equipa e para ti como foi a prova?
Foi, para nós, para já chegarmos todos bem inteiros, as motas todas, é logo um sucesso, não é? Portanto, aí sim, correu bem. Depois de resto, a prova estava excepcionalmente bem organizada, tinha a segurança toda super bem sinalizada, portanto isso contribui muito ao sucesso da corrida e à segurança toda. Foi ótimo, temos os melhores do mundo aqui em Portugal e temos os nossos portugueses aqui a bater-se, como bons anfitriões mostrarmos-lhes o caminho. O António Maio e o Bruno Santos fizeram um papel espetacular a levar a nossa bandeira a novos níveis, que nunca tínhamos estado, portanto estamos todos muito orgulhosos e obrigado à equipa do Pedro Briac Parda, aos mecânicos e toda a gente que nos trouxe aqui com as motos impecáveis até ao fim.
Obrigado, parabéns.
So Prieto nearly at the line, which will finish the quad runners, in which Kamil Wisniewski will take the win. And we've got a couple of... Have we got some towing going on there with those two bikes? Can't quite make it out. This is Gustavo Vila, the Argentinian, 7th in Rally 3, coming into this final stage. And that's where he will finish. In fact, he's the last of the Rally 3 riders to come across the line. The Argentinian on his CRF 450RX Honda. He will round out the finishers in Rally 3. So the order in Rally 3 at the end, the win for Gonçalo Amaral, his brother in second, John Medina third, Pedro Bianchi Prata third, taking it in the final kilometre from John Medina, who's fourth, the Chilean, and then España Mendez in fifth, Flores in sixth, and it'll be this man here, Gustavo Milutin Vila, who will come through in 7th spot in Rally 3. Those were the overall standings. Yes, so we have got some towing going on here. This is maybe that's Rafik getting a tow at the end, by the looks of it. We saw him struggling, didn't we? A couple of times, but the camaraderie, although a little bit less intense than the Dakar, where we see excellent camaraderie, you still see it on these slightly smaller rally raids as well. Even on that first day, we saw some towing going on, one bike giving the other one a pull back to the finish line. And there, across the finish line, comes Gustavo Vila, and that will be 7th in Rally 3 for him. So how many Rally 2s entries are we waiting for? I think that might be it, you know. I think they've all come through now, apart from Eid, who we saw getting the tow. So we have quite the gesticulations there from Gustavo, the Argentinian. So these fans now will get a bit of a break. Oh no, here we go. We've still got Jatin Jain out there, the Indian, on his Covey. Raced with Harith Noah for many years in that MRF National Supercross Championship in India. Harith Noah very much the young up-and-comer. Jatin Jain, the veteran, experienced rider. And he gets to the end and a little fist bump with Gustavo Villa. So, a couple of minutes, and then the cars will be coming through. Let's have a look at the classifications. Adrian van Beveren, this is winning the stage by 15 seconds in the end over Tosha Schreiner, with Sebastian Buller in third, Romain Dumontier fourth, and Ross Branch in fifth at the end of the final stage of the rally. So, really strong performance from Adrian van Beveren, taking the win in the stage, but doesn't take the win overall. Those problems earlier on mean that it's Tosha Schreiner on the 68 bike who takes the victory in the third round of the FIA World Rally Raid Championship. 14 there, Ross Branch is still in the fight for the championship lead, even though this rally raid hasn't gone quite according to plan for the South African. Romain Dumontier had a good run in Rally 2. Finishing fourth overall. But no one could stop Schreiner in the end. And this is the quad result. On the stage, Manuel Andújar did take the victory on that final stage, 3 minutes ahead of Kamil Wisniewski. But it is Kamil Wisniewski who takes the overall win. But frustration for Manuel Andújar. Just that 40 minutes he lost, costing him in the end. And he only finished 13 minutes back from Wisniewski there on the 177. Kamil Wisniewski, the winner of round 3 in the quads. Bill Kolek ended the stage third quickest in an impressive performance on the 193. And Krisick, who won yesterday's stage, ends up 7th overall and 4th on today's stage. A very strong performance from the CF Moto duo. Kanopkinas and Martinez finishing 2nd and 3rd in what will be a real fillip for the Chinese brand. And so we will be back in 25 minutes or so when we will have the cars come out for the third round of the FIA World Rally Raid Championship of 2024 at the BP Ultimate Rally Raid Portugal. Welcome back to our live coverage of the third round of the FIA World Rally Raid Championship. We're here at the BP Ultimate Rally Raid Portugal of 2024, and we are about to have the cars take to these final 3.7 kilometers. That is Yazid Al-Raji. He won the stage yesterday, so he's first on the road today, and he's about to get going in front of all the spectators that have flocked to just outside of Grandola, an hour or so southeast of Lisbon, and they are going to get the chance to see some of these amazing machines taking on these last 3.7 kilometers. So this is the end of stage 5, the fifth stage of the fifth and final stage of this rally. And we'll take you down through the different classes and through the overall standings. But we're going to start off with the Ultimates class, which is for these prototype, custom-built, specific machines for Rally Raid, for the Dakar, and for the subsequent Abu Dhabi Desert Challenge, and then this race here, and then Argentina at the start of June, and then the Rally du Maroc in October. Just hope we don't disturb the donkeys too much, because it's going to be quite loud in a couple of moments' time. Yazid Al-Raji, as I say, won the stage yesterday. He's lying 5th overall, he and Timo Gottschalk. They actually had a bit of a roll on stage 3, but then followed that up by being fastest on stage 4. Had to abandon the Dakar itself because of a roll as well, Yazid Al-Raji.
Viva João Carlos Costa, sim, de facto muito mais público agora para os carros, numa altura em que começa esta última especial do BP Ultimate Rally Raid Portugal. O primeiro concorrente já entrou, é o vencedor do dia de ontem, por isso abre a estrada, por assim dizer, é o concorrente número 204, o Yazid Al-Raji, mas como disseste, o foco está naturalmente na luta pela vitória e também pelo primeiro lugar no Campeonatos do Mundo, aqui com Nasser Al-Attiyah com uma grande oportunidade, a vitória já não lhe vai fugir, seguramente, mas com uma grande oportunidade para passar para a frente do Mundial. Faço só apenas um destaque, porque temos que ir aqui para cima deste palanque, para o pórtico, para receber o primeiro concorrente. O destaque é para João Ferreira e Filipe Palmeiro. Eles fizeram uma prova espetacular e venceram a etapa a contar para o Campeonato de Portugal de todo o terreno. Vamos ter seguramente a oportunidade para fazer reportagem com os portugueses e também com os da frente, os melhores do mundo no Rally Raid, quando chegarem aqui ao nosso ponto de reportagem, João.
So that is Pedro Gamito, who is down at the finish line, and he'll be speaking to the drivers at the end of this 3.7 kilometer stage. Now, they've already done 100 kilometers so far today, and this is just the final flourish to get them across the line. Leading the rally overall at the moment is Nasser Al-Attiyah, who is on a charge to try and recover after a very difficult Dakar for Al-Attiyah. Looking to defend his title there, but wasn't able to do so and had to abandon the rally, which he was entering in a Pro Drive Hunter for the first time. So he's leading, trying to get the gap to Carlos. He's trying to take the lead of the World Championship. In fact, it's that close between he and Carlos Sainz, who won the Dakar. João Ferreira is currently sitting second in his X-Raid Mini. Lucas Moraes is currently third quickest, with Carlos Sainz in fourth. And that is a change, because Lucas Moraes is leading this stage at the moment. The Brazilian in the Toyota Gazoo Racing entry, was a little bit behind Carlos Sainz earlier on. He was about 18 minutes behind Carlos Sainz, but he's managed to get that gap down and, in fact, get ahead of Sainz on the overall standings. Not by a huge amount, but a good enough chunk that I think Moraes should be able to hold on to third place. Right, here goes Yazid Al-Raji. He and Timo Gottschalk flying away from the line. Hasn't been a great stage this so far for Al-Raji. 2 minutes 45 down on Moraes in 8th place. Should be able to hold on to his 5th position. But the barrel roll on stage 3 really cost him a lot of time and has put him out of contention. Very consistent performer, Yazid Al-Raji. Second in this championship last year. Second in the Abu Dhabi Desert Challenge, which was the second round of the World Rally Raid Championship of 2024. He and his German co-driver making their way around this fantastic man-made 3.7 kilometer course, which you saw there from the cool drone shot just on the outskirts of the town of Grandola. A lot of rain in Portugal over the last few days, which has made it very wet and muddy. More rain forecast tomorrow, but a fairly pleasant 20 degrees today. But still very different to what Yazid Al-Raji is used to. The Saudi Arabian driver, very strong and impressive in the deserts. But this, the only European round of the World Rally Raid Championship of this year. And a great opportunity for these fans to get close and see the cars come past many times. And also not have to go too far from home. Trying to get out to some of those spectator viewpoints in Saudi Arabia at the Dakar is not straightforward. This is Seth Quintero, who has just started as well because he was second on the stage yesterday. Up and down for Quintero, 16th. Overall at the moment. Still learning in the ultimates. But as I say, he was second on stage 4 as Al-Raji makes his way through the final kilometre or so. Quite a lot of Toyota Hiluxes we'll see out here today from the Overdrive racing team and the Toyota Gazoo racing team, which is who Al-Raji is driving for. Al-Raji's with Overdrive. Quintero is with Toyota Gazoo. It was the 48-hour chrono stage where Al-Raji crashed out. Took a bit too much speed over a lip over a dune and went end over end. As he flings it through that final right-hander, that's the timing beam just there. So Al-Raji goes through to finish the stage. But as I say, not exactly flying on this stage. We'll see what Seth Quintero can do. Just 21 years of age, the Californian. 10th on the stage at the moment after 100 kilometers or so. 3 minutes 40 down on Lucas Moraes. But it was a very strong run yesterday to that second place on stage 4. His first season in the Ultimates class. These four-wheel drive beasts. And a lot of the drivers saying that every stage in Portugal has been a bit different. Bit of a different challenge each day. We will have 4 classes in the cars in the FIA part of the championship. These ultimates. Then there is 1 car out in the stock class, which is Carlos Mendes in his Isuzu D-Max. And then we will have the Challenger class and the SSV class.
Great race for you, a win yesterday. Your thoughts on Portugal?
Here's Yazid Al-Raji.
Yes, not easy for us. We have a small ditch 2 days ago and we lost a lot of time. But we are happy here. Thank you for Portugal organization, Mr. Carlos and all his team. And also for the Spain to make this nice race happen. And also thank you for all spectators coming support our motorsport. And we enjoy here and we feel like it's home. And sure, Saudi with Portugal is one group.
Thank you very much. Congrats.
Yeah, that's Carlos Barbosa. You can see behind him, the president of the ACP. That's who Al-Raji was referencing. This is Carlos Sainz, the winner of the Dakar, but was in an Audi then. Now he is at the wheel of an X-Raid Mini. And Carlos Sainz Sr. looking to score some points to help his championship challenge. He won't be competing in Argentina, I don't believe. And he might lose the lead of the championship today, depending on how Nasser Al-Attiyah fares, whether he takes the overall win, which he looks set to. But also, in the cars, you get points for winning stages as well. And Al-Attiyah has a couple of stage wins in the bag. Doesn't look like he's going to get stage 4, but that could mean that Carlos Sainz loses the lead of the W2RC standings with 2 rounds to go after this. But it was a metronomically consistent drive in the Dakar for Sainz. And it's been a similar kind of performance here, actually. He's always been there, running 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th at the end of every stage. But actually, this has been one of his most challenging.
Seth, it was not the result that you wanted for sure. Your thoughts on the race?
Yeah, I mean, definitely not the results we wanted, but the whole Toyota Guys Racing team did an amazing job getting everything figured out. And we went out the last 2 days and had a lot of fun, but honestly, I think the most fun's been all the fans here. All the fans here have been the best, and it's a lot of fun racing here. Excited to come back again, but yeah, we'll definitely be back.
Thank you very much, Seth. Congrats.
So Seth Quintero. This is Joao Ferreira then. He is the man who, at the moment, doesn't have a bonnet, but also has been trying to take the fight to Nasser Al-Attiyah. He was 2 minutes and 45 seconds. 2 minutes and 46 seconds, sorry, behind Al-Attiyah coming into this final 3 kilometers. It's been a good stage performance. It's been a great performance overall, to be honest, from Joao Ferreira. He was competing in the Challengers class at Dakar. And this is his first time in the Ultimate cars in the W2RC. He's competed in these cars in the Baja Porto Alegre, which he won the last 2 years, the 25-year-old from Portugal. But he really has lit this rally up, you have to say. It's been fantastic to see him out there on the stages, really taking it to the big guns. On this stage, he was 3rd, 21 seconds behind Moraes. Only 5 seconds back from Nasser Al-Attiyah after the first 100 kilometers. But it's going to need to be quite a lot to overcome that 2-minute 46-second deficit. There's the timing beam. And through comes Joao Ferreira to finish his rally. I'm sure we'll hear from him in a couple of moments' time. Down with Pedro. Meanwhile, this is Lucas Moraes leading the stage. And he could sneak into 3rd overall here, because he managed to get ahead of Carlos Sainz on this final day. And a neat and tidy final few Ks. And Lucas Moraes could be finishing in 3rd spot. Finished 5th at the Dakar. Looked as though he was going to finish on the podium. Well, 5th in the Ultimates. He finished 9th overall. But he had damaged suspension on the final day, I think it was. And that dropped him from 3rd all the way down. is Carlos Sainz.
Contento de haber venido, de haber conocido la prueba. Ha sido una buena prueba en la que siempre es interesante coger experiencia. Y bueno, hoy las cosas no fueron del todo bien, tuvimos un pequeño problema con el tubo de freno, pero contento de acabar.
¿Contento con los puntos que llevas para el campeonato?
Ni lo he mirado, pero en cualquier caso no lo voy a seguir.
Gracias, Carlos.
So Moraes coming through to try and take the stage victory. In the championship at the moment, he's 6th in the standings. He's already picked up some points from his stage results so far in this rally. But to finish it off with a win would be very pleasing for the Brazilian. Obviously a Portuguese speaker as well. He actually made his debut for Toyota in the 2021 Baja Porto Alegre 500 in Portugal. So it's a country where he has some experience as he comes across the line. And we'll have a look at the timings. Here's Nasser Al-Attiyah though. Miserable time abandoning on stage 9 at the Dakar. Split with his co-driver Mathieu Baumel after 10 years together. He's now with Edouard Boulanger, who was the co-driver of Stefan Pederhansel. He won stage 2 and 3, did Nasser Al-Attiyah, but then 7th yesterday. Took it steady. He was opening the road, which is tricky.
Para ti, mais do que tu esperavas?
Sim, é verdade. Sabíamos que podíamos ter todas as condições para lutar por lugares da frente, mas confesso que nunca pensei que conseguimos fazer o segundo lugar à geral. Estou super contente. Quero aproveitar por agradecer a este público fantástico que nos apoiou a semana toda, ao longo de cada quilómetro, cada prova. Temos de facto as melhores condições para termos a melhor corrida do mundo e o público, sem exceção, é o melhor público do mundo. Muito obrigado.
Parabéns, João, a ti e ao Felipe também.
So that's João Ferreira. Will he be finishing second or will he be finishing first? It's all about him versus Nasser Al-Attiyah. Al-Attiyah had an almost 3-minute advantage coming into this final few kilometers. Confirmation, Lucas Moraes did finish ahead of Carlos Sainz then. So Moraes at the moment looks to be finishing third with Carlos Sainz in 4th. But is Nasser Al-Attiyah going to hang on? Won the Abu Dhabi Desert Challenge last time out in the FIA World Rally Raid Championship. And Al-Attiyah cuts the timing beam after a really, really strong showing in Portugal. And that should be enough to give him the victory in the 3rd round of the season at the BP Ultimate Rally Raid Portugal. Here's Francisco Barreto in the 223 entry. 7th overall for Francisco and Carlos Silva. In this all-Portuguese privateer entry. And Nasser Al-Attiyah does take the win. The times have just come through. And Nasser Al-Attiyah beats João Ferreira by 2 minutes and 49 seconds. And Al-Attiyah makes it back-to-back victories in the Abu Dhabi Desert Challenge. And now at the BP Ultimate Rally Raid of Portugal. So Al-Attiyah wins, Ferreira 2nd. Lucas Moraes looks like he's going to be 3rd. 4th, Carlos Sainz. I think those top 4 are pretty set. But we'll see what comes behind, because at the moment it's Yazid Al-Raji.
Lucas, terminas a
It's
prova
Lucas Moraes.
com grande dia para ti, também com uma boa especial. O que é que levas aqui de Portugal?
Não, realmente rally incrível. Primeiro, dar os parabéns para toda a organização. Foi muito legal poder participar de uma prova como essa, muito bem organizada, com tanta gente nas especiais, milhares de pessoas torcendo pra gente. E é isso, ganhar o dia de hoje, a priori, né? Tem que ver os temas, a priori a gente ganhou. E, pô, incrível somar pontos pro campeonato, 3º na geral, atrás do João e do Nasser. Andaram muito bem os dois e mereceram. Vamos lá.
Parabéns.
Obrigado.
And Moraes there won the stage by 12 seconds ahead of Al-Attiyah, and then only 8 seconds back to João Ferreira. So on that stage, over 100 kilometers, and the top 3 separated by just 20 seconds. Remarkably close. As across the line then, to finish the rally comes Francisco Barreto. Here's Guillaume de Mévius. He said after stage 4 yesterday, it was his first stage without any problems in the whole of the rally. They stopped 48 kilometers into stage 2 with mechanical problems. And Guillaume, who's still only in his first season of racing ultimates, made his debut at the Dakar and won the first stage of the Dakar in his first drive alongside Xavier Panseri, who they were thrown together pretty last minute, but it seemed to work. This is Marcus Baumgart, Christian Baumgart. We just saw a flash of in the Pro Drive Hunter for the ex-rally team. But Guillaume de Mévius is 20th overall. Tough rally for him in the Overdrive Racing Toyota. The same is true of Gerland Chichery, who had to retire on the first stage. The man from Teen, stage 2 it was, where Chichery retired. This is Carlos Barbosa. And Nasser Al-Attiyah.
A spectacular win. I saw you celebrating inside your car just now.
Yes, thank for all the Portuguese people, and thank for the organization. We are so happy to win, and to win also leading the world champion, is amazing, and we are so happy. Thank for everyone.
Thank you, Nasser. Congratulations. O novo líder do Campeonato do Mundo e o vencedor aqui em Portugal, Nasser Al-Attiyah.
So Al-Attiyah has taken the lead of the championship then with the stage points that he picks up from that final stage. It is now Al-Attiyah ahead of Carlos Sainz in the W2RC. Here's Christian Baumgart. We saw a little flash of his Pro Drive Hunter a little earlier on. And Baumgart lying 6th coming into this final stage, which would be a strong result. He had a big crash on the first stage of the Abu Dhabi Desert Challenge. The whole sort of roof and front windscreen was smashed after rolling over a dune. And the Dakar in January was only his second time entering that, when he finished, and he failed to finish. No, so I apologise. Christian did finish the Dakar. His brother Marcus didn't finish the Dakar. And I don't think we'll see his brother Marcus out today. I think he has had to withdraw from the rally. But another win for the Pro Drive Hunter, which we saw Nasser Al-Attiyah driving. He'll be moving to Dacia next year, along with Sebastien Loeb. And we'll talk more about Sebastien Loeb a little later, because we will see him out in the Challenger class. And things aren't going all his own way today. There we see Nasser Al-Attiyah and Edouard Boulanger, along with Carlos Barbosa, the president of the ACP, the organising committee that have put this rally on. And it is Nasser Al-Attiyah who takes the win and the lead of the championship. End of the rally for Baumgart, as we now look at Lionel Bode. He and his daughter Lucy having quite a good run on this stage. They were 4th at the most recent checkpoint. Started the day 21st overall, but finishing with a strong flurry. Strong flourish, I should say. Another overdrive Toyota Hilux for the French pairing. All of these entries we're seeing here are in the T1 Plus category, meaning that they are four-wheel drive. I don't think we've seen any of the two-wheel drive cars yet. But you do see different driving styles. You remember when we saw Yazid Al-Raji first out, the tail of that car was out all the time pretty much around here, whereas Lionel Bird only doing it when sort of completely necessary. Here's Eugenio Amos, the Italian. Another overdrive racing Hilux. Amos had to abandon the Dakar after a really big accident in the last couple of days.
E o Carlos com um bom dia dentro do top 10, julgo. Como é que foi o rally para ti?
Foi muito bom, não correu a 100%, a verdade é esta. Tivemos alguns problemas, mas faz parte do jogo. Os outros concorrentes também tiveram, de certeza. Demos o nosso melhor. As organizações estão todas de parabéns, organizaram uma excelente prova e estamos muito felizes com o resultado. É a nossa primeira prova este ano, junto de um plantel que já fizeram o Dakar, Abu Dhabi, entre outras provas, já levam muitos quilómetros feitos à nossa frente. Portanto, hoje estarmos no meio deles, para nós é muito bom mesmo, realmente muito bom.
Obrigado, Francisco, parabéns.
It's Francisco Barreto. As I say, Eugenio Amos in the 213 Hilux here had a big crash which knocked him out of the Dakar, and his co-driver Paolo Cecchi had to be helicoptered off to the medical centre for precautionary checks. Got a bit battered and bruised in that. So, saw him on the flight back actually from Dakar back to Paris, and yeah, Paolo looked like he'd been in the wars. But no such troubles this weekend. They're going to make it to the end. 22nd overall coming into today, so it's not been a stellar rally. Here's Juan Cruz Jacopini, the Argentinian. Him and his co-driver Daniel Oliveras, Argentinian and a Spaniard respectively. And Jacopini is 7th on the stage at the moment. He's got ahead of Al-Raji. And that was a good... we heard from Francisco Barreto a couple of moments ago there. And he's currently looking like he's going to finish 5th on the stage. Ahead of Christian Baumgart, ahead of Yazid Al-Raji, ahead of Carlos Sainz, ahead of Seth Quintero. So that would be very impressive if he manages to pull that off. The first 2 days of this rally counted for the Portuguese National Championship. As Jacopini comes through, won his first stage in the W2RC last year in Argentina, on home soil with his family. The Abu Dhabi Desert Challenge was one to forget. Ended up crashing into Martin Prokop and then got disqualified for having unauthorized assistance. 8th coming into today, Jacopini overall. And that, ready to go, is Sebastien Loeb in the Challenger class. The Challengers and the SSVs will look quite similar to the naked eye, but the Challenger class, all the numbers start with a 3. The SSV class, all the numbers start with a 4. That's the best way to look at it. But Sebastien Loeb about to launch off the line. Just waiting for Jacopini to come through. But there is Loeb, who failed to win the Dakar again. He's always close, but not quite making it.
Cristiano, terminaste bem. Que recordações é que levas aqui desta prova em Portugal?
Muito bom voltar aqui, correr em Portugal, em alto nível, participar aqui da etapa do Mundial, é maravilhoso, muito especial e é muito bom aqui, não tenho nem o que falar, de tão bom que é. A gente veio com um bom resultado, viemos andando forte o tempo todo e parabéns a todos aí que fizeram tudo isso acontecer, muito bom.
Obrigado, Cristiano, parabéns e ao Gustavo também.
So that's Christian Baumgart. But here comes Sebastien Loeb, he and his co-driver Fabien Lecoin entering this for the Red Bull Off-Road Junior team. And as I was alluding to earlier, so Sebastien Loeb will be joining Dacia for a full assault on the W2RC next year and a Dakar as he looks to try and get the victory. He's been there or thereabouts many years, but hasn't quite managed to pull it off yet. And so he's decided to enter this rally in the Challenger class so that he gets to know it, basically. So that he learns, so that he understands, and so that he knows what to expect when he arrives next year for Dacia. Now, he was dominating the Challenger class, Sebastien Loeb. But he lost an hour on stage 3 with a mechanical problem. So even though he won yesterday on stage 4, he's still a little bit too far back in the standings to be challenging for the win. But it's still all about learning for Loeb. Not that there's much for Loeb to learn, I would suggest. But I just love watching Sebastien Loeb. The way he throws the car around and the body language of the car is just a lot of fun to watch. Just a kilometre or so to go. He's not actually leading this stage at the moment, Sebastien Loeb. He's a minute down on Nico Cavaliasso, the Argentinian. So I don't think Loeb is going to finish it with a stage win. But he took a couple along the way. He was dominant, really, in the Challenger class before his problems. He lost an hour, as I say, and obviously that knocks him down the order, but he's 42 minutes off the race lead. So, if, minus an hour and he's 20 minutes in the lead. Obviously that's not how it works, but you take the point. So just another mention of confirmation that in the ultimate class, Nasser Al-Attiyah has won, with João Ferreira second and Lucas Moraes third, Carlos Sainz in fourth, giving Al-Attiyah the lead in the W2RC championship. It was Lucas Moraes who won the stage, which promoted him up into third place. Today is how he got ahead of Carlos Sainz, because Sainz only finished 9th on the stage. Here, meanwhile, is Denis Krotov. Regulars in the W2RC. And they are on the road ahead of João Dias and co-driver João Miranda, who are 8th in the Challenger class coming into this final stage. the Portuguese duo for Santag Racing. Having a good run, 4th on this stage so far. Don't think they'll quite be able to get Loeb, and they're under a bit of pressure actually from Mario Franco for that 4th spot. But overall, it's 8th place for Diaz. Loeb, the first to come across the line in the Challengers. The amount of mud, if you can go on the World Rally Raid Championship YouTube page and see daily highlights that are put together after each day, and some of the mud we had in the first few days. In fact, you can go back and watch the live stream from stage 1, and the Challengers when they came through were absolutely caked in mud. And the drivers at the end couldn't really see where they're going, because you'll see there's no windscreens on these machines. So every time they do a big splash through a puddle or something, they're getting absolutely covered. Really challenging conditions, very different to the sand dunes of Abu Dhabi and the various dunes and rocky surfaces, but essentially dry conditions of the Dakar. Shows João Diaz. Few hundred meters remaining before his Portuguese Rally Raid adventure comes to an end. Comes to a conclusion, I should say. One of the many home heroes that are competing this week. And there's some more celebrations on the podium. As we are watching Luis Moraes in the G Rally team. Entry 20th coming into today, but a stronger stage yesterday, and actually second fastest at the moment after the first 100 kilometers. So this has been a good run from Luis Moraes, despite losing time earlier on in the week. It's been a strong performance this time. Oh, that's a bit deep into there, though. Up and over the side of the course. We saw that a lot, didn't we, with the bikes on the first stage, where the bikes were just making up their own track a little bit, using all the grass around, but not the same situation here. That wasn't ideal for Lucas Moraes, but the Portuguese racer doing well at the moment.
Sebastien, hello, very strong finish for you. Your thoughts on the race?
No, it was a good race. The stages are nice. Some stages are really good, and we enjoyed the race. For sure, the the car is not the one I'm used to, so it's another category. But it was a good experience, a lot of mud and tricky conditions, so it was nice to be here.
Merci.
Rui Carneiro about to head off as we now look at Jose Rogera in the Ford Ranger, 24th overall at the start of the day in that 227 Ford. Not many Fords in the field. I think the only other one is Edward Pons. But Ford looking to enter the Dakar next year with a works entry, partnering with the M Sport Rally team. As we see Jose Rogera and Paulo Marquez. Is there damage to the back of that? It looks like there might be, isn't there? They're missing that sort of rear right bodywork that that covers it. You see from that side, can't you, that where that right-hand side should be, not there. So they've had a bit of a moment at some point. Have Jose Rogera and Paulo Marquez. But they're going to make it to the end, which is the important thing. In the ultimate class. Back into the challengers now. And this is Rui Carneiro, 25th at the start of the day. For he and Olaf Lund, Portuguese and a Norwegian driving for this G Rally team entry. And on this stage so far, it's not been a bad run, actually 8th in the first 100 kilometers. Only 2 minutes down on Cavaliasso, so that's a bit more like it for Carneiro. You can see where the tracks are getting so set in. Now that we've had, well, all the bikes through, but predominantly all of the T1 Ultimates coming through. That Ford Ranger, by the way, that we saw of Jose Rogera is one of the two-wheel drive machines that we have in the Ultimates class. Maybe 8 or 9 of the two-wheel drives.
Conseguimos lutar pela vitória até ao fim, mas não deixei de ser positivo, uma corrida ótima, muito bem organizada.
Obrigado, parabéns, João. João Dias e João Miranda.
So across the timing line there. And here we've got one of the Can-Am entries, and this is Austin Jones, along with Oriol Mena. 3rd at the Dakar in the Challenger class. The winner of the Abu Dhabi Challenge, Abu Dhabi Desert Challenge a couple of weeks ago, a month or so ago. And 3rd in the championship last season. It hasn't been a great stage this so far for Jones. 6th overall coming into today. And he should still be able to hold on to that 6th place. But currently not inside the top 10 on the stage. But the same is, he's 13th at the moment. The same is true actually of Baciuska.
Sim, foi bom. Primeiro, a organização espetacular, uma corrida muito gira. Ainda podemos ter muitos mais quilómetros nesta zona, mas em termos geral foi bom. Tive um azar no segundo dia que me tirou da luta pela geral, mas as últimas 3 etapas estou super contente. Andei sempre na frente, no meio dos melhores pilotos do mundo, portanto estou muito contente.
Parabéns.
See, Austin Jones and Rokas Baciuska not having a great run here. Baciuska still has over 7 minutes to 2nd place, so should be absolutely fine. He is the man leading the challenges at the moment, ahead of Araujo and Cavaliasso. But Cavaliasso's strong run on this stage actually could be what gets him up into 3rd place in the 302, because he was 5th at the start of the day, Nico Cavaliasso, but this storming final stage could launch him up to 3rd place if he can pull it off. So we'll keep an eye out for him in the 302 Taurus. Meanwhile, we've got Guilain de Mévius, brother of Guillaume.
Antes de mais, quero agradecer à organização, agradecer à equipe, agradecer ao navegador, agradecer a todos. A organização excelente, tivemos alguns percalços pelos caminhos, mas faz parte de todo o terreno. É a nossa segunda grande prova com este carro, foi uma aprendizagem constante. Correu muito bem, ontem ganhámos o T1, que foi fantástico, hoje também correu bem e estou muito satisfeito. Obrigado.
Obrigado, José, parabéns.
Guilain got 40 minutes of penalties on the opening day. Sorry, on stage 2 it was. So hasn't really been in contention since, but has had some strong stage performances. As the Belgian duo make their way across the line. And finish their runs. Quite unusual in the challenges. This is just the way it works out sometimes, but we haven't really had the front runners come through yet. Normally the front runners are at the front of the field, but not so today. Austin Jones is the first we've had through.
Foi uma corrida bastante complicada, tivemos problemas nos 2 primeiros dias, nos atrasou bastante, mas o carro também era novo, ter o bola ajuda bastante, conseguimos fazer os dois últimos dias a um ritmo que nós achamos que é o nosso e vamos trabalhar agora sempre para continuar a evoluir e a progredir.
Obrigado.
Well, as I say that, the front runners are coming through now. Baciuska's just come across the line to finish his rally, 10 hours, 23 minutes and 30 seconds. Should be enough to stay ahead of Araujo, but this man, Nico Cavaliasso and Valentini Petagrini, come across the line here, and is that going to be enough for them to win the stage, but also jump from 5th up to 3rd on this final day? Really remarkable performance from Cavaliasso, the Argentinian. We'll wait and see the timings. But there aren't many people out there who can stop him. It's very tight. Franco, Gastaldi, Rodriguez, all within 2 minutes. As this is Alexandra Pinto. Started the day 4th overall and is one of those that has got deposed by Cavaliasso. So Pinto now looks like he's going to drop to 5th at the end of the rally. Still waiting on... there is Cavaliasso's time, and yeah, he takes the win. Cavaliasso wins the stage, and that launches him right up the order. Here's Ricardo Porem now. He's another driver that looks like he's going to lose out. Started the day in 3rd place, did Ricardo Porem. But he and Luis Marquez, after finishing 5th at the Dakar earlier this year, look like they are going to lose a couple of spots. How are they doing on this final stage? 9th at the moment, starting these final 3.7 kilometers. So really remarkable final 100k from Nico Cavaliasso. And that shows how tight it is after 1,000 kilometers of competition. It's still close enough that in the last 100, you can jump from 5th to 3rd. Confirmation Cavaliasso has got ahead of Pinto. That's for sure. But does he get ahead of Ricardo Porem? Well, it's looking that way.
Rokas, congrats, a win in Portugal. It was a very happy place for you.
Yeah,
Here's Bashuska.
The one here, the Portuguese guys also was fighting. Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of fans come here to watch and was enjoying to drive. It's a nice rally. Was a lot of muddy things, but yeah, we are here, and we finished in Challenger first class. Yeah, thanks for all sponsors, and yeah, to do the 2 rounds more, Argentina and Morocco, it can happen everything, but yeah, we won the race. Thanks for everyone.
Congrats. Thank you.
Big lead at the top of the championship now then for Rokas Bashuska, with Austin Jones will stay in 2nd in the standings. I would have thought, although he's finishing 6th, Cavaliasso's 3rd in the standings, and that 3rd place today will give him a good chunk of points. So we need to work out or wait and see where everybody finishes in terms of the stage points. But Cavaliasso could be challenging Jones for 2nd position. Still more challenges to come through. Bit of bodywork flapping underneath this particular machine. As across the line comes, I think that's the 306 of Mario Franco, who was 7th overall coming into this final stage. Still waiting for Ricardo Porem's time to come in. And then I should be able to confirm the top 5 or 6. Maybe even the top 8, to be honest, in the Challenger class. But still a few to come across the line, maybe 10 or so challengers still to come through. Helder Rodriguez, 9th place overall at the moment. Ooh. Well, it's just come up here that we'll have to wait and see. It looks as though Cavaliasso may have been given a... Well, we'll wait for confirmation of that and what that does to the overalls for Cavaliasso. Meanwhile, we'll keep an eye on Helder Rodriguez. Porem is through, and it is 4th place for Ricardo Porem. So Cavaliasso does get into that 3rd place by just 18 seconds ahead of Porem. Hernan Garcés, we're watching now, the Chilean. In the South Racing Can-Am Maverick. He and Juan Pablo Vinagre. Tenth this morning. And still 10th at the moment. So they're not setting the world alight on this particular stage, down in 18th on this stage, but still should be enough to keep them in the top 10 in the general rankings. What margin did they have? Well, they're ahead of Loeb, so they've already stayed ahead of Loeb.
Foi uma prova, podemos dizer, positiva, porque estamos aqui no final, claro. Talvez podíamos estar um bocadinho mais longe, mas alguns problemas mecânicos não nos permitiram, apesar de termos ido de início ao fim, sempre nos lugares cimeiros, e com esta concorrência toda que tivemos aqui, com os melhores do mundo, como eu digo, estar no meio deles é espetacular, e eu acho que tivemos uma grande prestação neste Rally Raid.
Parabéns, Alexandre, obrigado.
So, just some confirmation then. It looks as though Cavaliasso has been given a 1-minute time penalty. So Nico Cavaliasso has been given a 1-minute time penalty. That means he doesn't win the stage. It goes to the 316G Rally team of Luca Portela Morais. Sebastien Loeb 2nd and Nico Cavaliasso 3rd with that penalty. But crucially, it doesn't seem to have affected his overall standings position. It looks as though Cavaliasso remains 3rd by just 18 seconds in the end over Ricardo Porem. So Cavaliasso doesn't win the stage, but it looks as though he's still managed to make that leap from 5th up to 3rd. So still a good performance from Cavaliasso.
Acabaste a prova com sorriso bem rasgado. Acredito que também com o 2º lugar na tua classe. Faz balanço da tua prova.
O balanço é extremamente positivo. A primeira prova do Campeonato do Mundo que eu faço um top 10, segundo do Challenger. Não podia pedir mais e a minha equipa esteve fantasticamente bem. E quero dar os parabéns ao ACP pela excelente prova que pôs na estrada.
Obrigado, Armindo. Parabéns.
So Portela Morais winning the stage. As the cars are lining up, and we're moving on to some of our SSVs now. I can see Rebecca Bussi in there, waiting to head off. We also saw one of the ultimates still to go. It was Rick van den Brink, he and Guido Heimans getting ready to head off. 14th in the class at the moment. But here's Daniel Akil, the Saudi racer, only 13th overall coming into today.
Foi importante chegar ao fim, balanço da tua prestação.
O balanço da minha prestação foi muito positivo, portanto trouxemos 3 Yamas, 3 chegaram ao fim, era o nosso objetivo. Pessoalmente, capote que já foi histórico e que vai fazer história atrasou-nos um bocado, mas de resto o carro portou-se muito bem. Sinto-me bastante confortável nas provas de areia. O meu grande objetivo são provas internacionais como Dakar e Rally de Marrocos, etc. Esta não deixa de ser menos importante, porque faz parte do Campeonato do Mundo. E cá estamos, dar os parabéns também ao ACP, agradecer ao meu navegador, a toda a minha equipa de assistência e família que nos apoia nestes momentos tão difíceis que são corridas, porque estamos fora deles.
Obrigado, parabéns.
Now we're moving on to the SSV class, the last of the classes. Just as Rebecca Bussi, the Italian, gets ready to head out, we were looking at Ricardo Ramilo. He's leading the stage at the moment by 30 seconds and is 2nd overall in the SSV class. But crucially, leading the W2RC entries. So the pair leading, in fact, first, third, fourth, sixth, seventh, eighth are all not entering the W2RC. So Ricardo Ramilo is looking strong, and here is Rebecca Busi. She is 5th overall, but 2nd in the cars that are registered and competing in the full W2RC. So a 2nd place finish for Busi would be a strong performance. 8th at the Dakar, then 3rd in the Abu Dhabi Desert Challenge. 6th in the standings coming into today. Her and her Uruguayan co-driver, Sergio Lafuente. Entered the Sonora Rally last year and finished 2nd in class, which was impressive. And the Italian is 6th on this stage. As I say, it looks like it'll be 2nd overall for her.
Ricardo, fizeste uma grande prova no Dakar. Esta prova não tem nada a ver com o Dakar. O que é que levas daqui da tua participação? Foi difícil chegar ao fim, olhar aqui para a tua roda.
Sim, é verdade. Isto foi contratempos até a última especial. No entanto, fizemos uma boa corrida. Não conseguimos, infelizmente, atingir o objetivo que era o pódio. Fizemos só o pódio no W2RC, portanto, no Campeonato do Mundo estamos inscritos. Mas o resultado é positivo. O carro, a equipa MMP preparou um carro muito bem, o Luís Marques fez um trabalho fantástico e o ACP preparou umas pistas incríveis. Até eu próprio, que conheço bem Portugal, fiquei surpreendido, adorei, e portanto também estão todos de parabéns.
Obrigado, Ricardo.
So Ricardo Ramilo is the man leading this stage at the moment. Rebecca Busi coming around again as she approaches the final few hundred meters of her BP Ultimate Rally Raid Portugal of 2024. See how deep those ruts are there at some of those corners. Busi in the 402 OnlyFans Can-Am Maverick in the SSV class. As I say, it looks as though she's going to get 2nd in W2RC in the SSVs behind Ricardo Ramilo.
Helder, acabas a prova com rasgado sorriso. Como foi para ti e para o teu copiloto?
Tivemos uma semana positiva, divertida os dois dentro do carro. Foi ao mesmo tempo difícil porque foi uma prova dura. Tivemos alguns percalços pelo caminho. Alguns dias queríamos ser mais rápidos, não conseguimos. Mas acho que foi positivo. No final da semana, hoje, já fomos rápidos e no final divertimos muito. Claro que isto são automóveis, nós temos que ainda evoluir muito. Isto é um carro novo que nós construímos e que ainda tem alguma coisa para evoluir e nós também.
Obrigado.
So Helder Rodriguez finishing 9th in the SSV, in the Challenger class. I'm not sure if we've got many challengers yet to come through. Yeah, okay, I think we do have some still to come. Eight challengers as Busi finishes her final run. 8 challengers to come and a good 10 or 15, well no, probably about 10 SSVs. And a couple more ultimates. I think we just saw one lurking in there. Which I think was Benoit Fretin, but I'm sure we may see it again. Meanwhile, this is João Paula. And there you can see that's at the end of the special. Everybody lined up to drive up onto the podium and either have an interview with Pedro or just get some photos of them completing. Oh, my apologies. It's Rui Serpa we're looking at here. He and Rui Peter for Santag Racing. Who are actually having a very strong run. Third overall coming into today. But they've dropped down to fifth on this stage. They're some 23 minutes off the quickest. No, I apologise. They're still there in third place. Serpa and Peter still there in third position. It was the Mitsubishi that we saw. This is the 228 entry from Centrum Ermelo. Ronald Schulderman and Mark Salomons. The two Dutch drivers in their Mitsubishi ASX. Running 11th overall, actually. In a car with no four-wheel drive, two-wheel drive only on this Mitsubishi. But how has this stage gone for them? They've lost about 10 minutes. They're running 18th on the stage at the moment. So we could see them dropping down the order a little. Actually, it's only really Benoit Fretin who can depose them from that 11th position. So this has been a very good run from the two Dutchmen. And this is the aforementioned Benoit Fretin. In his Century CR6. He and Cedric Duple. Running well in 12th position. I really like the look of the Centuries. They've got the CR6, which Mathieu Serradori campaigned in the Dakar, but they've also got the new CR7, which is the four-wheel drive version, which I imagine we'll see Serradori move into for 2025 at the Dakar. His South African teammate had a go with it, because Serradori, I can't remember now, I think he wanted to break the top 5 in the two-wheel drive, and I don't think he was far off. It was a very impressive run. But yeah, the Century's very cool-looking machines, in my opinion. Look at those ruts now. Wow. It's like you're a tram, isn't it? You got no option of where to drive. Get in those tram tracks and you ain't coming out. In the meantime, João Monteiro in the 405 South Racing Can-Am SSV looks as though he has won the rally overall in the SSV class, ahead of Ricardo Ramilo, and then Rui Serpa in third spot by the looks of things.
Acredito que saia daqui com muitas boas recordações de Portugal depois desta prova que dominou do princípio ao fim.
Sí, me voy muy feliz porque es correr aquí al lado da miña casa, ¿no? Que sou galego, e gañar a corrida, que é a miña primeira corrida que gaño no Mundial, pois é impensable. Pero bueno, todo correu ben, tuvimos problemas coa dirección hasta hoxe e depois hoxe tamén tuvimos un pequeno problema que non tiñamos o extintor coa carga e tuvimos que dar a volta outra vez a carpa a buscala. Xa pensei que estragábamos tudo antes de sair hoxe, pero finalmente fixémolo moito ben e o copiloto Fausto Mota tamén estuvo moi forte e acabamos primeiros na etapa e na corrida. Non podo pedir máis.
Felicitaciones. Gracias.
So great to hear from him. This is an interesting one for me. Will Buller, the British driver, I think the only British driver on the entry list or rider, and he's getting cheered on. He used to race single-seaters, competed in British Formula 3 in 2013 and finished third in that championship, but since appears to have switched to off-road racing. After that finishing third to Jordan King and Antonio Giovinazzi in that 2013 British Formula 3 season. So yeah, Buller now out racing off-road in his Yamaha, where he's partnered by Daniel Jordão, Portuguese racer. But yeah, pretty sure he's the only British driver in the field, Will Buller. Technically from Northern Ireland, born in County Down. He took up off-road side-by-side racing in 2010. Sorry, 2020, I should say. 2020, Will Buller took up off-road racing. So he's come across the line, not having a particularly strong run. 18th overall at the start of today was Buller. And now we're back into the Challengers. Oh, we're still in the Challengers. I think that was, yeah, Sergio Vitorino. He and Andres Lopez. 21st at the start of the day in their Can-Am X3. In the Challenger class. Well, and just to change it around again, I apologise for this, but it looks as though whatever that penalty was for Nico Cagliasso has now been removed.
Deu para perceber pela forma como festejaram que foi uma prova muito boa para vocês, resultado muito bom.
Sim, sem dúvida, este resultado numa prova de Mundial é a cereja de topo no bolo depois de um grande Dakar. É óbvio que quando vimos para uma corrida é para ganhar, mas temos que começar com cabeça. Foi isso que fizemos e o resultado está à vista. A vitória é muito bom.
Também fortaleceram a posição no campeonato português, neste caso.
Sim, sem dúvida. Os dois primeiros dias contavam com o campeonato nacional e conseguimos ganhar. Portanto, é a segunda vitória da época e estou muito contente. Tenho que agradecer, primeiro de tudo, aos meus patrocinadores, à equipa, à família e o mais importante, estamos aqui com mais uma vitória.
And that's the end of the... Oh, there's damage on the front left there, isn't there? For Sergio Vitorino. Big damage on the front left, and that's right at the end of the stage as well. So, not quite sure what's happened to Sergio there. Yeah, so a few bits of housekeeping. That 1 minute time penalty appears to have been removed for Nico Cagliasso, so he does take the win of the stage. And again, remains in third place, but now instead of by 18 seconds, it's by 1 minute and 18 seconds. In the FIM, in the bikes that we saw earlier on today, Romain Dumontier is now back in the lead of the Rally 2 standings. So Dumontier has 58 points, Jean-Luc Lepin is second with 57 points, and Bradley Cox is third with 55. So just three points between those three riders, and Konrad Dabrowski is only 10 points or so back from that. So Dumontier has the lead there. and Manuel Andújar is still leading the quad championship.
Zé, balanço desta vossa participação.
Olha, agridoce. Foi positiva no sentido em que foi muito gira a corrida, as pistas eram espetaculares, a organização estava excelente, a minha navegação também, o Arcélio Couto, foi impecável, foi um navegador top e revelou-se um mecânico ainda melhor. Tivemos bastantes problemas. Nas últimas 3 etapas sempre problemas, umas avarias, partimos umas peças, etc. Chegamos a andar em primeiro da corrida, acabamos de conseguir 2 terceiros lugares. Bom, enfim, foi positivo, mas agradou-se, como disse.
Obrigado, José.
Obrigado.
Nuno Rogério now, he and Pedro Santos, 14th in the Challenger class coming into today. Big slide there as he comes towards the timing line. Here is Thomas Baranowski, the 2 Poles, he and Konrad Dudzinski in their Toyota Hilux, in what has been a tricky rally for them so far. 18th in their ultimate. Look at that. That corner is just remarkably rutted, isn't it? Four more challengers to come across the line. And 9 more SSVs. This is the 314 challenger, Francisco Guedes. 22nd at the start of this final stage in the 314. And on this stage itself, they are slowest. Oh, lost a good chunk of time somewhere out there. No, I take it back. They're not slowest. They are 23rd out of 26. So Rogério Pereira and Will Buller are behind Guedes and Lutas. And this now is Felipe Lopez in the 413, 6th in class coming into this one. And in the SSV class, as I said before, it is Ricardo Ramilo who has won the stage. João Monteiro, who we heard from a little earlier on, has won the overall rally, but Ricardo Ramilo wins the W2RC segment with Rebecca Bussi in second. And a really tough day for Yassir Sedan. Well, stage 3 was the tough day, so 2 days ago got 18 minutes of penalties. And that really scuppered his run. Another mini here. This is Maria Luis Gamero. She and her co-driver Jose Marquez were actually 10th overall coming into today, so she's having a strong run. And is she going to be able to... It looks like she's going to be able to keep that 10th position, which would be a very strong performance. Second in the Spanish National Ultimates class last year in her John Cooper Works Rally Plus. And it looks like Maria Gamero is going to finish the Portuguese rally in the in the top 10. One of the top non-W2RC drivers. Third in that sort of unofficial class of non-W2RCs, with Barreto in 7th, Esteve in 8th, and there we go. Well, she's got across the finish line at this point. It's a tricky, I think we're seeing, aren't we, the sort of marshals waving people to the right, because it's quite tricky that you cross the timing line and then have to turn immediately to the right and then head around to the finish. So that should be enough for Gamero to complete a top 10 finish. 4-1-2 here is Jose Morgado, 15th at the start of the day for he and Gonçalo Magalhães. The SSV class is, as I've said, all the classes are confirmed and finished now in terms of the big winners and the big championship positions. Jose Morgado having a good stage here to finish his rally. 8th at the moment. On the stage, that is. After the first 100 kilometres. We'll drop a few positions, I think, afterwards, because when they started the day, what did I say they were? 15th, so yeah. I think they'll still be sort of outside of the top 10. But some really close fights elsewhere in the order. Montero getting ahead of Nogueira for 3rd place right at the end. Even though Montero won by 13 minutes and 10 seconds. Still good news for him. This is Pim Claassen in the Nissan VK50. The Klaassens with Daklapak Rally Sport, bringing a couple of these quite unusual to see Nissans. A VK50 for Pim Claassen and a VK56 for Dave Claassen. I think, though, Dave is not running anymore. Oh, and here's our one entry in the stock class. This is the number 500, Isuzu D-Max. Carlos Mendez and Rui Silva entering this. The stock class is, oh my, it's becoming almost sand, isn't it? We're getting back to Dakar, Saudi Arabia vibes. But yes, the stock class is for, as you would expect, stock machines, as opposed to the ultimates, which are prototypes, like the ProDrive Hunter and like the Minis and the Toyotas. Broadly speaking, the stock class is for machines that you can just buy off the shelf, for want of a better phrase. Pim Claassen and Toon van Daal were 23rd at the start of the day. And obviously I don't need to point out that in the class of one, Carlos Mendez and Rui Silva are leading that class in the stocks. They're trying to avoid the ruts and the divots, aren't they? Obviously, it's easier with a bigger, more powerful machine in the Ultimates to carve your own path compared to some of the little buggies in which it's a little bit more tricky. This is Magdalena Zajac and Marcin Pasek. In 2023, Magdalena became the second Polish woman to take part in the Dakar. The first Polish woman to take part was in 2002. Martina Wojciechowska. Zajac, who entered the Dakar, competing here as well, had a bit of an accident in the Rallye du Maroc at the end of last year. But made it to the finish of the Dakar this year, did Magdalena. Back to the Isuzu. Oh, have we got a problem here? We're taking an unorthodox route, aren't we? That's a bit of an odd one. And we're going a little bit slowly. Well, let's hope the Isuzu can get to the finish after my slightly tongue-in-cheek reference of in a class of one. Oh, and they're ploughing through the ribbon that delineates the course. All doesn't seem quite right there, does it? Not going particularly quickly, and going in very odd... Let's have a listen. Oh, you can see sometimes there's huge plumes of black smoke coming out the exhaust of that Isuzu. So it could be a struggle to get to the finish for Carlos Mendes, which after 1,000 kilometers would be a real shame. Oh, certainly doesn't sound like it's at full capacity, does it? And again, maybe some of the odd route choices is to just try and keep out of the way of some of the challenges and the SSVs that are still to come through. Because certainly this car didn't have this lack of pace. Look, you can see the black smoke there, can't you? Surely didn't have this lack of pace earlier on in the stage when we saw it, I'm pretty sure. That, meanwhile, is Vitor da Silva Moutinho. 8th coming into today. He and his French co-driver Max Delfino. And still looking like they're on for 8th position. We've got 5 SSVs to finish. And I think all of the challenges have now finished. So I think it's just the 5 SSVs that we have remaining. And this is one of them. The aforementioned Vitor da Silva Moutinho in the Can-Am Maverick XRS Turbo OR, which is that is the Challenger car. Oh, here we go. Here's classifications of the ultimates then. The final stage going the way of Lucas Moraes, just ahead of Nasser Al-Attiyah by 12 seconds, with João Ferreira in 3rd. But the rally win goes to Nasser Al-Attiyah. So Nasser Al-Attiyah takes the win and the lead of the FIA World Rally Raid Championship by finishing 2nd in the BP Ultimate Rally Raid. By winning the BP Ultimate Rally Raid of Portugal, but finishing 2nd in that final stage. But a great drive from Lucas Moraes to take the stage victory. Overall, that gave him a 3rd place finish, just 3.5 minutes back from Nasser Al-Attiyah in the end. here in the 201 car. Victory overall puts him back to the lead of the championship after a difficult Dakar. Al-Attiyah is back to the top. Managed to take the victory ahead of João Ferreira, who did a really great job in the ultimates to really push them all the way. The first time racing an ultimate in the W2RC, and João Ferreira showed he had a very strong performance, and a good performance as well from Lionel Bode. On that stage. In the Challenger class, Nico Cavaliasso takes the victory. That phantom 1-minute penalty disappearing, so not only winning the stage, but that also moved him up the order from 5th to 3rd. 5th this morning, ends up in 3rd. But the overall win goes to Rokas Baszuska. In the SSVs, Ricardo Ramilo wins the stage. And that also wins him 2nd place overall, but 1st in the W2RC. So as far as the points are concerned, Ricardo Ramilo getting a good victory here in Portugal for the Spaniard. Well, what a rally it's been. The first ever BP Ultimate Rally Raid Portugal. It's hosted World Rally Championships in the past, hosted the start of the Dakar for a couple of years in Lisbon in the sort of mid to late 2000s. But now hosted a rally raid and a round of the World Rally Raid Championship. The next round of the season is the start of June in Argentina, where there will be many, many more trials and tribulations. You can, of course, keep across all of it on the W2RC website, which is worldrallyraidchampionship.com. Across all the social medias, YouTube highlights as well. There'll be more YouTube highlights of today's action, either later tonight or early tomorrow morning. And there's all the highlights of the Dakar. If you didn't manage to catch any of the Dakar, that's all available on the YouTube as well. But Lucas Moraes wins the final stage of the Portugal Rally Raid, but it's Nasser Al-Attiyah who takes the win and moves back to the top of the championship. Ross Branch holds on to his lead in the bikes ahead of Adrian van Beveren, who finished 3rd because the win went to Toscha Schreiner. Remarkably, his first points of the season, Toscha Schreiner. But we'll see you next time for the 4th round in Argentina.